And good afternoon, everybody. Good evening. Yeah, this is just a quick flight. It's going to be from what's the name of the place? I put it on the screen. Oh yeah, Ronchi, which is not far from LIPZ. So we are going to be flying from there, a bit over the Alps to Geneva, and land on the lovely Lake Geneva airport. So it's only going to be a quick flight. Everything's set up. I've done all the programming, got all the everything programmed in, and we have air traffic clearance to take off. So let's get onto the runway. I'm not going to be able to speak a lot today. My throat is very sore, so I'm just going to fly. And if anybody wants to comment, I'll say hello or whatever. If anybody witnessed my disastrous landing yesterday, I'd just like you to know that nobody got hurt. It was just the captain's pride. It's really hard setup I've got here. I've got to move the microphone so I can see through it, because I can't see the joystick and I can't see underneath to the pedals. The microphone is taking up all that space. So that throttles up to climb mode. Up to flex, and we're off. Holding nose down slightly. VR is about 145. We can go now. Nice and gently up in the air. Still want to go back down again. Right, gear up. I have to say I love the scenery of this flight sim. I'm just flying manually just now. So we've got this turn ahead of us now. I did say Geneva, didn't I? I didn't mean Geneva at all. I meant Venice. Why did I say Geneva? That's what happens. My brain is just a jumble at the moment. I'm completely messed up. Yeah, this is the approach into Venice. I don't know. I'm a complete idiot. Managed to get autopilot to engage. The way I'm going, I probably ought to let autopilot fly all the way and even land it, because I'm not thinking straight most of the time just at the minute. So I'm going to turn the outside sounds down. And we're going to go to external view, because the view externally is really nice. So we're going to be flying basically that way, and then we'll come back on ourselves for the runway 04 right into Venice. Not Geneva, Venice. That's why I hesitated when I said we'll be flying from LIPZ, and I just, for the life of me, couldn't think why would we be flying from there. Didn't make the slightest bit of sense. So I should imagine we'll be getting a climb instructions soon, because we're nearly at our 10,000 feet. Mountains over there. Whoops. Hope nobody feeling airsick, but sorry about that. We'll leave it in managed mode so that it can decide how to balance the power for the climb and the angle of attack and all that stuff. I need to get a flyby view done, so I'm going to take this opportunity. So I'm using the drone. The drone has got manual controls on the keyboard, so I can turn the drone around. And then go flying off, but I always forget I have to set the drone speed, otherwise it simply doesn't work. So we're whooshing far ahead of the airplane just now, but we're still tracking the airplane. So if I let go of the controller, the forward motion, we'll still be moving, but we'll be moving at the same speed as the airplane. And I don't know where our airplane is. I think I forgot to put the strobes on. See, this is why you pay money to fly with real pilots. You know, they don't make stupid mistakes like that. Well, they probably do, but they get away with it a lot easier. So somewhere back there is our plane. I'm not sure exactly where. Looks like we're okay. So if I now go to there and switch off follow mode. Didn't do it quick enough. Now the drone, the aircraft should be coming straight towards us. There it is. No, it isn't. That's a mark on my screen. You know, I have no idea where it is. Oh, it's ahead of us. Okay, so it sounds about equal. Here we go. Lovely. That's exactly what I wanted. That's exactly what I wanted. Very hard to see from a distance, planes, aren't they? We haven't missed anything. I think, yeah, 15,000 feet was our cruise height anyway. So let's have a look at the map, the old flight plan. We're here, so very shortly we'll get to Bazog and we'll need to start dropping height. I don't know who makes up the names for these waypoints, but some of them are really cool. Now that line there tells me that's when we need to start descending. So I'm pretty sure any second now we'll get a radio message saying to start our descent. That green dot has moved down, which means we should be following that. It'll probably give us a descent just before Bazog, even though we should be making a gentle descent now. So at Bazog we should be at 1100. So I might start descending now. We'll probably get told off for being below our assigned altitude and then instantly told to descend. The scenery around here is phenomenal. I had no idea that this coast of Italy was so much like this. No one seems to have noticed that we've slipped down in height yet. Morning, Andrew. Yeah, evening. Hi, Faris CH. I was feeling a bit better today, Andrew. It's my temperature's down. And my head's not quite so muzzed up, but it's still not right. Right, my kit. What I have is a homemade throttle quadrant. I'll send you a picture of that. Oh, I've been told off. Yeah, I've got a homemade throttle quadrant and homemade adapted Excuse me while I'm concentrating. See, look, they just told me off for being too high, and now they've dropped me from 15,000 down to 4,000. Right, so I've got a homemade throttle quadrant which has other controls on it. It also has the steering tiller. I've got a modified Logitech brain dead. Yeah, a modified Logitech joystick, which is connected into a USB to analog system, and I've got rotary controls on the box which allow me to adjust things like the altitude and stuff like that. The only thing I've bought, which was almost a sort of present, was rudder pedal set. I got the Logitech rudder pedals because I could have made it, but to be honest, it was easier to buy that, and probably the parts alone would have cost more than the price to buy it. So it's obviously it's a rudder pedals, so pedals go backwards and forwards and the rudder moves, and then you push down on your toes and that's the brakes, so it's analog braking on each side, which is ideal. On my throttle quadrant I've got 3 or 4 different analog controls which I can set up to do whatever I want to do, depending on how I set up the controls for each aircraft. So I'm going to be giving it some extended decrease in height. We want to get down. This little arrow here tells us that's when we're going to get to the height that we've set. So we've come out of LIPZ. Oh, yeah. We'll be coming up to Laren sometime. So getting down to the right height is important, but not getting down there so fast that you go too fast. I want to try and limit the speed to below 240. The reason for that is I can't really put the gear down until we've gone to 240. So that little green blob has popped up, but we're going to carry on with the instructions to go down to 3000. There's nothing in the way between us and Venice now. If I put the radar on, it's just emptiness, just water. Notice our speed's creeping up. There's nothing much I can do about that. I could use the air brakes, spoilers. Put those out. A lot of these controls, like the spoilers, I'm actually in the process of connecting buttons, so I can push the spoilers just by operating a button rather than having to go to the actual control on the plane itself. So we're doing okay. We're not far away from our assigned height. We've got a nice turn coming up shortly, which will bring us straight in towards Venice. It doesn't matter if you set clear blue sky or no clouds or whatever, you always end up with this haze, distance haze. I think it's the way the graphics model fights with the need for detail. So Venice is over that way somewhere. So we started our turn in. We're still a few miles away. We're still probably 25 plus miles out of the way. Right, we'll get our speed brake up. He doesn't like us to leave that out for too long, and it'll always remind us if we have. And to manage the speed now, we can pop the gear down because it's within the gear's parameters. I'll just wait for the 3 lights here. Three lights, that means the gear's down and locked. And at this stage, I'm not going to put any I'm not going to put on any flaps because we're still far enough away not to use those. So we're about 20, 40, 45 miles away from the airport, which is there. The sea reflects blue on the radar, and obviously land masses reflect different colours depending on their height. They haven't yet implemented the weather radar. Now, I was talking with someone from Fenix the other day, or the other week, and he said that they've got the details from Microsoft now. Microsoft has released the code, and he says it may be on their next update, but he couldn't guarantee it. So let's get some landing lights on so we can be seen by other people better. We don't know what the QNH is yet, but they'll tell us when they give us landing clearance. So ground spoilers are armed, seat belts, so I don't think I released the passengers yet, so they can keep the seat belts on. I should have let the seat belts off for them. Landing lights on. We need to put on braking, because we're going to need that to stop when we land. So we're sitting at a nice 4,000 feet. Let's have a look at the ILS and see if that's picking anything up. I've flown a glider in real life as a student. It was a 2-seater glider side by side, and it was different in that it had an engine which pulled it up in the air. It's called a Falke, F-A-L-K-E, I think. And once you got up to 2,000 or 3,000 feet, you just stopped the engine and the propeller blades folded back, and then you were in control. I did it 3 or 4 times, but it was expensive at the time. I couldn't afford it, so had to not do that anymore, I'm afraid. Airport's up there somewhere ahead of us. Nothing to see yet. It would be easier if we were higher. I guess that's why the approach says to come in at 8,000 feet, whereas this is telling you something different. Let's just check that we've got the radio signals in. Yeah, we have. Yeah, when I finished talking to you yesterday, I did my temperature and it was 42. No, sorry, 40.2. I'm not 100% sure I agree with you there. I can't see forever. I can only see as far as the horizon. I have heard that argument. Didn't agree with it when I first heard it. Right, start loading some flaps in now. Stop dinging. If you fly one of the there's a model which is like a stealth plane you can get on this, and you can go up into the upper atmosphere till you basically see black sky. You can see that the Earth is well curved from that, so I'm not worried about falling off the edge. I think that's the best way to describe how I feel about the flat Earth thing. Yeah, you're right. If there wasn't any haze, the graphics card would just be working like crazy just to try and get you to see things that you wouldn't normally see anyway. Oh, wish this thing would hurry up and land. You want to see the ice wall. Where's that, Andrew? You have to give me an idea. I mean, Game of Thronesy type. Okay, so calling Venice approach now. For anybody who's tuned in wanting to see some really cool flying, I'm afraid I'm only going to be able to fly the plane a little bit because I'm not feeling that great, so I'm going to be getting it down on the ground. Alright, so you're saying that there's a wall at the edge of the Earth all the way around. So you're talking not quite Discworld then. You're talking about the water flowing off the edge of the Earth, except that there's an ice wall in the way which stops it. Rather than Discworld, where it just falls off the edge constantly. So we're about 20 miles out. We'll soon be going past Venice. Venice is on our side of the runway, and it's actually to the right a little bit. Actual Venice Islands and such like. Let's have a look. So you're saying that Antarctica is what stops the water falling off the bottom of the Earth. But in space, how do you know which is the top and which is the bottom? – 17 miles to go. We're nicely established. Got the flaps on. So you're saying there's an ice wall at the north and an ice wall at the south? Going into approach mode. 2992, so we've got the QNH set. This was always meant to be a simple flight. I didn't want to use real life weather because I'm just not feeling in the mood to be fiddling around with too many controls. I'm even wondering whether I should just let it land itself, to be honest. So there's our runway. Up ahead. Whoops. There's the runway. And there's Venice. Part of Venice. So the mainland comes around here like that. And then you've got ways of getting across. And I believe that's Venice itself. I did fly the drone over there. I paused the flight and then flew the drone. And it's quite interesting. I'll call you tomorrow on Skype, Andrew, if that's alright. What I'll do just for you is I'll set up a polar route flight from, let's say, Heathrow to Tokyo, which goes over the North Pole, stops off at Anchorage for refuel, and then over the pole and down the other side to Tokyo. I've done that flight 3 or 4 times, and it's the only time I've ever seen the aurora, properly seen the aurora, and it looked like we were flying in it. It was absolutely amazing. And ever since then I've wanted to see an aurora, and I've sort of have plans to try and do that sometime soon. It's a bucket list thing. There's I suppose I ought to pay attention if we're going to come in. My sole experience of Anchorage airports, each time I flew that way, was getting off the plane, sitting in the lounge, having a beer, getting on the plane after it had finished refueling and everything, and then off. Okay, so we're coming in nicely. We're well established on the localizer and the glide slope. I'm just going to let the plane do the landing, or shall I do it by hand? Quick vote. If anybody wants me to do it by hand, press 1 in the comments. If you want me to let it land itself, press 2. Now, this is interesting. There's a tree at the end of the runway here, and it's really, really close to the runway, close to the threshold. I've hit it twice on an ILS landing. You're coming down and you think, yeah, I'll miss that easily, then donk, suddenly you've hit it. And you're going to miss it today.
100.
Right, okay, so I've got all my hands and feet ready.
20. 10. Retard.
Okay, reverse thrust. Braking. Steering. Okay. I'll get to you in a minute, Andrew. Just let me get off this runway. Okay. You're talking about the Malaysian flight. I know it's one of those things that's a mystery that people just want to solve, I think. Right, that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to stop here. I'm not going to bother going to the gate. So thank you for watching. I'm off for another feet up. I'm now on day 6 of COVID, so feeling a bit better than I have been, which is great. So I'll talk to you all later. Thanks very much for joining me. I'm going to cut it off here, and this is